remember that colored cube puzzle you found when going through a box of your parents' old things? You probably picked it up, gave it a few turns, and realized you were never going to solve it. That puzzle is called the Rubik's Cube, and it is one of the most successful toys ever made in history. The Rubik's Cube is a pop culture staple that is not only fun, but educational too. Let's begin with the origins and some history behind the Rubik's Cube. According to Rubik's website, the Rubik's Cube was created in 1974 by Erno Rubik. Erno Rubik was a professor of architecture in Budapest, Hungary. It actually took Erno over a month to solve the cube himself after he created it. He originally began to use the cube as a way to help him teach his students about spatial relationships. After the cube became a hit in his community, Erno needed to find a way to start manufacturing the cube. Thus, the Magic Cube began to be distributed in Hungary. The toy hadn't had a chance to be manufactured worldwide until Erno's Magic Cube was taken to the 1979 Nuremberg Toy Fair. There, Tom Kramer arranged to have the cube be sold everywhere. The name was changed to the Rubik's Cube before worldwide distribution in 1980. Since 1980, Rubik's estimates that at least 350 million Rubik's Cubes have been sold. Rubik's also estimates that 1 in 7 people have played with the Rubik's Cube. Now that we know a bit about the Rubik's Cube, let's look at how one of these cubes are solved. A Rubik's Cube is usually solved using a combination of algorithms of twists and turns. Thomas Rokicki discussed in his article in College Mathematics Journal that a Rubik's Cube can be solved in a maximum of 20 moves. This is known in the Rubik's community as God's number. However, that number was found using computers which can analyze the entire cube and know the perfect way to turn it. The average person takes many more steps than that. There have been thousands of algorithms developed to help you orient certain cubes to certain spots. It's impossible to learn every algorithm. However, there have been surefire combinations of algorithms created that will guarantee you solve the Rubik's Cube every time. The method I learned when I first started solving Rubik's Cubes is known as a Friedrich method. According to the UK Cube Store website, the method was created in 1981 and was popularized when Jessica Friedrich published the method on her website in 1995. The Friedrich method is based on solving the cube in layers. This method has been the main method used by people solving the cube since then. All the top solvers in the world use a variation of this method. The reason I say variation is because the people who professionally solve the Rubik's Cubes use supplemental algorithms to help them solve the cube faster, and sometimes even skip entire steps if that certain mix allows them to. Solving the Rubik's Cube takes many hours of practice and memorization. Once you have solved the cube enough, you're able to notice certain patterns with the cubes, and it becomes almost second nature. The most popular cube is a 3x3x3 cube like this one. But there are many other creative variations of this puzzle. Variations of this cube include the cubes that start at 2x2x2 and can increase to be as big as they want, such as 15x15x15. The larger cubes are usually created by hand and not manufactured in large quantities. Here's an example of an 11x11x11 cube, and the reason it can't be a perfect square is due to the fact that the mechanism that is used inside of the cube that allows the little cubes to move. According to Joseph Jelinek on his article discussing the mechanics of the Rubik's Cube, the small cubes are connected to an armed axle that is designed based on the size and type of the cube. Here's another example of a variation of the Rubik's Cube. This cube is called a pentamix and is a dodecahedron. Professionals can make solving them even the most advanced cubes a piece of cake. Professionals in the world of Rubik's Cubes are known as speed cubers. According to Rubik's website article on speed cubing, the first Rubik's Cube competition took place in 1982 in Budapest, Hungary. The winning time was 22.95 seconds, which is pretty slow compared to today's standards. The World Cube Association official results show that the current record for the 3x3 cube is held by Lucas Eder with a time of 4.9 seconds. There are now competitions all around the world and many that are happening close to home. Professionals put massive amounts of time into practicing algorithms and fine-tuning their cubes. New cubes have been developed with faster mechanisms in the center to keep up with the current speeds. Speed cubers also loop the mechanisms and change the tension of the cubes to their liking. Professionals have also developed certain techniques to turn the cube without having to change the grip, often using their fingers. In conclusion, this accidental toy has sparked a worldwide phenomenon that has been growing ever since. With speed cubing growing bigger every day. The Rubik's Cube has stood the test of time, and I believe it will continue to entertain people for generations to come. If you have some spare time, take a crack at the Rubik's Cube, and you might find a fun way to stay up.